What I'm about to tell you is exactly what you need to know about the weather to help you prepare for what it's like to live in this very unique, high desert, high altitude region that I call home. So if you're thinking about making a move to Reno or almost anywhere here in Northern Nevada, stick around. My name is Brian Lessinger, and if you're new to the channel, I've lived here since 1989. And my team and I have been helping buyers and sellers and investors for almost 30 years. So I'm about to tell you is the good, the bad, and the occasional really bad that happens here in Reno and Northern Nevada. So why do people love living in Reno, and what do you need to know about the climate? I'm gonna give you a quick overview before we go into detail about this stuff. And first of all, we do have relatively mild winters as far as the amount of snow we get. It's a dry heat. Yes, we do get days where it's close to 100 degrees here in the summertime, but with low humidity, it's much more tolerable. You have great outdoor activities, so the weather is great to be able to do things. And if it's too hot in the summer, you can go up to the lake. One of the cool features that we do get here is we have all 4 seasons. We get snowy winters, warm summers, and we get the kind of nice shoulder seasons in the spring and fall, where to me in the fall, this is when the weather is absolutely the best. So in my brain, winter kind of is December, January, February. We do, like we've had recently, temperatures in the teens and 20s in the mornings. It is beautiful, blue skies. It's just cold. And a lot of times this year, we're going to have highs in the 40s. But so far this winter, I haven't shoveled my snow, in my driveway, not one time. We do on average get about 22 inches of snow a year. But again, it is rare that you're shoveling more than just like a sweeping amount of snow out of your driveway. We can get big winter storms. We can get lots of wet rain. While Reno itself doesn't see a lot of extreme snow accumulation, you are definitely going to want things like snow tires, or potentially change if you're the kind of person that gets to get up in the mountains or drives to the Bay Area, on a regular basis. So the second time we want to talk about is the spring, which is kind of this March, April, May time frame. This is sort of a weird time of year. This is for years and years where I used to coach my kids' Little League team, and the temperatures can be anywhere from, let's say, 50 to 70 degrees. I can't tell you how many times we did tryouts on a freezing cold or snowy day. So March and April can definitely be one of the weirdest times of year, where some years we're out playing golf and it's really nice. Other years there can be snowstorms and blizzards, so it's sort of an unusual time of the year. Now, if we jump into the summertime, June, July, and August, people always want to know how hot it is here, especially people coming from Las Vegas or Arizona, where you get, 110 plus degrees, really extreme summers. We do get over 100 degrees here. It is rare that it lasts for more than a week or two. When I say over 100, we're talking like 105, 106 would be like really high for our area. Typically, it's more in the 90s type of situation. And the summers here can be amazing. Lots of good golf, lots of good weather. But you have to remember, it's dry. So if you're coming from somewhere that's really humid and really moist, the heat here, when 100 degrees, to me, I'd rather be in that here than, let's say, in Florida with some serious humidity and all those kind of things. Because of the high elevation, you're going to want sunscreen all the time. You're going to want to drink water all the time. You're going to have to understand that dehydration is a risk, especially if you're someone who moved here from sea level or that you're used to living at a lower elevation. But the absolute best time to live in Northern Nevada is the fall. September, October, November, it is the best weather. The kids are back in school. It's just lots of great events going on. It's just the best time of year. And typically the weather is from lows in the 60s to highs in the 80s. If you enjoy getting outside, to me, this is the best time. We get 7 inches a year here. It is not a lot. It actually makes us one of the, if not the driest city in all of North America. We get thunderstorms sometime. I have some of the best pictures you've ever seen from my friend's backyard. He's got a great view of the city, where we do get the occasional thunderstorm in the summer, and it could cause a fire with a lightning strike, but it's a pretty rare occurrence that happens here. We get tons of sunshine. So even like in the wintertime on a day like today, where it was really cold outside, it's a beautiful, gorgeous, sunny day. We have sunny weather. As we're higher, we're closer to the sun, and you can easily get dehydrated and sunburned a lot quicker here than in a lot of places. Especially if you drink alcohol, you can get drunk a lot faster here too. Air quality, this is a big one, especially with all the fires that have been going on all over the place. Dust and pollen, we do have a desert climate. You could have allergies here, especially when it's windy in the springtime. Wildfires, the majority of the smoke and the issues that happen with our air quality are fires from California, not fires that happen here locally. We have had some fires that happen here locally. Normally, most of the time, we have some pretty good air quality here, and that's why that afternoon breeze is an absolute must, because it blows all the junk out of here, because we are in a bowl and in a valley. Yes, it is possible due to being near the mountains. There have been times here we've seen 80+ mile-an-hour winds. There have been times here in my life where one time I had 12 feet of snow at my house. Now that was twice in 36 winters. It can happen. And of course, if you're someone that is driving to California over the mountains or doing things up at Lake Tahoe, you can see some extreme weather conditions. But if it's super hot down here in the valley, you can always go up to the lake. There are things up at the lake to do to cool off. What can you do to prepare? You're always going to want sunglasses. you're going to want sunscreen, you're going to want chapstick, and you're always, always, always going to want a lot of water. And again, for those of you that are used to humid climates when you first come here, you might even consider putting humidifiers or things like that inside your houses. The benefit is when you live at high elevation, I remember years and years ago when I was training for a marathon and I had a trip to San Diego. Well, when I went to San Diego and I'm at sea level, I felt like I could run all day long. The other thing you have to understand is when you live in an area like this, the difference between a morning low temperature and an afternoon high temperature can be a lot more extreme. I can't tell how many times where you wake up and there's a 40, 45 degree difference. It is weird how much the temperatures can swing, and where all of a sudden it's 84 degrees on Tuesday as a high, and all of a sudden on Thursday it's 42 degrees as a high. We get some weird weather like that on occasion. If you're someone who's thinking about moving to Northern Nevada, do me a favor. Click the link in the description below. It'll get you a copy of our free buyer's guide that'll get you some of the information you need to start your journey to Northern Nevada. The wind, the afternoon breeze. We live in a bowl and in a valley. And typically, for whatever reason, people always ask the question, hey, it's windy here. What is the story about the wind? And do you get extreme winds? And yes, in all my years of living here, we have on occasion had huge windstorms, 80+ mile-an-hour winds. It comes off those mountains on the west side of town, and it can get extreme. But normally, if you wake up in the morning and it is not windy, and then as the day progresses, we'll get a little afternoon breeze. That is kind of the normal what you see here. It comes from west to east. It blows out any junk out of the valley, and it's actually something that is necessary, and it feels good in the afternoons. But if you wake up and it's windy first thing in the morning, we just know we're going to have a super windy day. And there are areas when you're looking for homes that are a little more wind prone than other areas. It's not like we're seeing 30-mile-an-hour winds here every day all the time. Weather allows here for you to do everything. Year-round, there's always activities going, so whether you're a winter or summer person, the weather will allow for that, but you definitely need to pay attention. A lot of times, if we get massive amounts of snow, a ski resort might be closed for a day or two because of avalanche control. The weather can change quickly here, so whether that is with snow, wind, rain, a wildfire, whatever it might be, you have to be paying attention to what is going on, especially if you're going up in the mountains and you might be in an area where you have no cell phone coverage. You might not be as easy to be able to get a hold of. So as far as natural disasters in Northern Nevada go, there's two that are kind of the biggest ones. The one that is, of course, the biggest one in the news right now is wildfires. So wildfires are something you see here. The majority of what we would call smoke season is really fires that were happening in California that the smoke blew our direction. And so more air quality is an issue. I have had a few friends over the years, and there's been a few pockets of town that have had wildfires and then have lost houses, but it's not something where you're seeing, like in California, massive, people losing their homeowners insurance or things on those lines, but it is something we have to pay attention to. The other thing that does happen here are earthquakes. Now, in all my years of living here, I have had many times where I felt an earthquake, but I've not had anything, knock on wood, that got damaged. Never had my office building or my home, nothing major, but you will all of a sudden feel the world shaking and you're wondering what's going on. So we do have those here, but it hasn't been something that has been a major thing yet, knock on wood. Hopefully that won't be the case. Wildlife. So whether you could see literally walking across a golf course a coyote, or where I live in the South Meadows, you could literally see horses walking down the street. I know there's parts off of Mount Rose Highway that they've had bears in their neighborhood. You just have to be cautious and careful, knowing that if you're in an area that is maybe prone to seeing some wildlife, and the more you get on the west side and up the mountains a little bit, you're going to be more where the animals are, that you have to be careful with your trash cans, and you absolutely do not want to feed any animals. So don't even go there. Don't even do that. Most things like deers and coyotes are going to go away from you. Fortunately, I've never had a personal encounter with a bear, but you have seen them in some of the areas, again, as you go further up towards Montreux and Joy Lake Road, where there'll be bears walking through those neighborhoods on occasion, especially if it's been one of those years where water and food for animals have become, a little bit of an issue for them. If you see wildlife, trust me, they don't want to mess with you any more than you want to mess with them. So cool to see, maybe take a picture from a distance, but leave the animals alone. So long term, I promise you, you're going to adapt. It might take a few months. You will notice better stamina, better lung capacity, and you'll get comfortable living at high elevation. When you're traveling to lower elevations, you're going to love it now because your body's used to working on that thinner air. But if you're ready to enjoy all that Reno's weather and elevation and living at a great place where there's lots of fun outdoor activities can be, you'll see it's a really rewarding place to live. And I promise you, doing all this training and exercise at high elevation will totally pay off when you go back to the places like the beach or other lower elevation places. You'll really love it. So reach out if you have any questions, comments, or something that maybe we didn't address. We'd be happy to answer your questions. If you're someone who's thinking about moving to Northern Nevada and you want to enjoy some of the amazing outdoor activities we have, check out this video we did about all the best things to do in the winter.